is there any recommendation saying that vegan can be healthy? Let's review several recommendations for healthy eating. First of all, let's talk about China. Our Chinese ancestors eat a lot of plant-based food, and there are records in the literature saying the health benefit of many plants, also saying medicine and food come from same source. In America, the dietary guideline in the 60s mentioned about 4 food groups: milk, meat, vegetables, fruits, and grains, in order to stimulate economy. Then they find the health benefit of such a diet. A lot of people die from cardiovascular disease. So they understand that a lot of food are not good for the heart. So that's why they revised the recommendation to one which has less milk and meat and more grains and vegetables. However, the problem was not solved. So they further improve it by recommending exercise. Apart from the umbrella diagram, they can also use this plate to show the proportion of these 4 food groups. But then they have this group of protein, which may mislead people thinking that probably grains and vegetables do not contain protein. In UK, the plate just contains foods, not nutrients, no mention about nutrients. A lot of bread, cereals, potatoes, and vegetables and fruits, less meat and milk compared to the other food groups, the other 2 food groups. In Canada, they use a rainbow. The most should be the grains and the least should be the meat. So for these countries, they consider meat and milk is part of their diet. In Hong Kong, like our ancestors, we were not used to drink milk and meat. However, in the 60s, pediatricians from UK come to Hong Kong and see that our children were tiny. So they recommend our children to drink more milk and eat more meat. In the 70s, the dietitians introduced American 4 food groups to Hong Kong. So again, encourage people to drink milk and eat meat. Gradually, the 4 food groups was replaced by this pyramid, with meat and milk in the upper part of the pyramid. It also says about alternatives, so they allow people not to drink milk or eat meat, but then to make sure that they have enough nutrients. In mainland China, in 1988, they have a Chinese dietary guideline based on National Nutritional Survey and morbidity statistics. With the increased number of stroke and diabetes, they advise people to eat more whole grain, less salt, and less oil. No mention about milk or meat. By 2007, they started to use this pagoda to represent different food groups, and with milk as one of them. So this was added to the dietary recommendation because they consider about the importance of calcium. However, the amount of calcium required was uncertain among the scientists. So that's why there was a disagreement among countries. For example, for children of 5 years old, the USA would base on their population survey and say 800 milligram per day, whereas in UK they base on the absorption study and say 450 milligram per day. So there is a big discrepancy between these 2 countries. WHO and Singapore choose something in between and say 600 milligram. China preferred to follow America. So in such case, we have to ask people to drink milk in order to meet this recommendation. Now in America, there is a Physician Committee for Responsible Medicine, PCRM, saying that from scientific point of view, there's no need to drink milk and eat meat. And they use a power plate to represent these four groups of food. It can prevent you from chronic illness and also make the chronic illness reversible. They consider cow milk have the health risk of being having these problems, like the protein can be allergenic and encourage calcium loss from the body, and in high amount of consumption can promote cancer. The fat of cow's milk can increase the blood cholesterol and make people obese. The lactose in milk can cause abdominal bloating, colic, and diarrhea because most people are intolerant. In Hong Kong, we are seeing more and more children suffering from allergic diseases. Milk and egg are the common food allergens because they have a delayed type. That's why it's very often unnoticed. In fact, in UK, there was a report in 2009 saying that 3% of children are in fact suffering from cow milk allergy, but then they were not diagnosed earlier. These symptoms include vomiting, infantile vomiting, recurrent colic, irritability, blood in stool, diarrhea, and eczema. In America, they have another food pyramid, which comes from Harvard University. It's called Healthy Food Pyramid. Professor Walter Willett, he accepts a lower requirement for calcium and based on the laboratory research. And he said that his new pyramid is based on science and not politics or economics. He stressed, of course, exercise, but then for the grains, he mentioned whole grain, not just ordinary grain, but whole grain. Plenty of vegetables, a variety of vegetables, and every day must eat nuts and legumes. It's not necessary to eat fish, poultry, eggs, nor dairy. So an alternative can be used. So this recommendation also accept that vegan can be healthy.